All right, we've got a section here on decimals, and if I could admit something candidly here, the fraction section is always really relevant to algebra. I've never had a lot of issues. We don't do a lot with decimals, but again, it's foundational. You've seen everything in this section before, but let's go through it again in preparation for the harder algebra that's coming. So we're going to work with decimals, and we're just going to talk about the different decimal places. Do you remember that if you have one decimal place, it's the tenths, hundredths, and then we go down thousandths. So it skips the oneths. Like everybody thinks there should be a oneths place. There's not. It starts with tenths, and then it follows the pattern that you would expect. Now, it's hard even in the earlier videos talking about naming numbers. It's hard to like say if you had 1471. It's hard not to say 1471. And I even struggled with it in the video. But the truth is, in math, we have to avoid that because the and is reserved for the decimal place. So if we're naming this, we have 4 and that's the decimal place. And then we want to see what place are we going to. This was the tenths place, so 4 and 3 tenths. So for naming this, we have 6 and 7. So and is the decimal place, and what place are we in? We're in the tenths. Here we have 5 and 8, and then once again we're in the tenths place. Okay, so we just have a longer one here. Let's show you. So we've got negative 15 this time. Now we got our and. Now just name this number as if there were no decimals involved. You'd have 571, right? Now you're just going to throw on the farthest place that you got to. So this is tenths, this is hundredths, so we got to the thousandths place. So let me do another one for you here. So I've got negative 13. Now my decimal place is my and. Now I'm just going to tell you what this number is, as if it wasn't involved in a decimal at all. 400, my handwriting is terrible, especially on this thing, sorry, 61. Okay, it was 461, but what? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I don't know how to spell it. Thousandths, something like that. Okay, you can always pause and try it. I'm going to go ahead. So we've got negative 2 and. So I'm just going to tell you what that number is. 53. Now, where is it at? It's in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, so now we're going to go the other way. We've got 14. Oh, didn't even show it. I've got 14, and is the decimal place. Now I've got 24 is all we have, the number 24, but it ends in the thousandths place. So that's the tenths. This ends in the thousandths place, so that is 24 thousandths. So we've got 13, and is the decimal place. Now 68, but it doesn't just start immediately. It's 0.68 because it ends in the thousandths. Here we've got 5, and it's 94, and again it's ending in the thousandths, so we're skipping this one. The number 94, but it ends in the thousandths place. Okay, we're back to some rounding. We did this in an earlier video too, but not with decimals. So if we want to round to the nearest hundredths place, we're going to find that spot. That's the 7, and we're going to look to the number behind it. 5 or higher is going to round up. So they found their spot. We're rounding up. Let's see what they do. Well, we can skip that. Okay, so we're rounding up. So it's going to make it an 8, and then everything behind it would be a 0. But when we do it with the decimal places, we're just going to drop those remaining places off. So let me do some here. So this is the hundredths. Is that 4? So I'm going to check behind it. 7 is bigger than 5, so I'm going up. Now normally when we did just whole numbers, we would round up and we'd leave zeros, but when the zeros are on the end, they're not impacting the number at all anymore, so we just remove them. So there's the hundredths, but we are not going up. I checked behind it, I got a 3, so I'm not going up, I'll just drop everything after the 7. Keep it the same and drop everything. Okay, they're just putting two of these together on the same one. We're looking at the tenths place. Let's let them do it. Well, it's easier if I do it. Looking at the tenths, I'm looking behind us. We've got a 7, so we're going up to 18.4 and going to drop everything after it. Now the nearest whole number is telling us that we want to look right here. I look behind the 8 and it's a 3. So we are not going up, and we're just going to drop off everything else. So if I do the hundredths here, it's that 8. Checking behind him, he's a 2. So I'm not going up, I'm just going to go 6.58. Okay, we got 3 of them this time. To the 10th place would be this guy. I look behind him, he's an 8. So I'm going up. I'm going to go 6.6. Nearest whole number, I'm looking at the 6, I'm looking behind him. He's going up to 7, and I'm dropping all the decimal places. Thousandths, so a tenths, hundredth, thousandths place. Looking behind him, he's a 5, so I'm going up to 15.218. Looking at the hundredths place, that'd be this guy. Looking behind him, he's a 7, so I'm going up. Lastly, the tenths place is this guy. Looking behind him, he's a 1, so I'm not going up. 15.2 is where I'll stay. Alright, you've done all this before as well. Just a refresher in case you don't remember. We're just going to add the decimals, but we're going to line them up. Yeah, I don't know. They were doing something with turning them into fractions. I don't know what the point of that is. So we're just going to go old school here. Oh, I see, just the leading zeros. So we're going to line these up. 23.5 plus 41.38. What they're saying is, let's make sure that we have matches in every place so that we can do this. That's all they're saying. I filled in the extra 0, even though I don't really need it. Now we just add down, just like we've been doing since elementary school. We don't have any carries here, but just be careful of that. So what they're saying is we're going to do this. Now fill in the empty 0 there so we can match it up. Got 9. Now carry the 1 just like you would, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to bring my decimal down. I got 1649. I'm going to fill in the extra 0. I'm adding these guys. So 3, 9, 5, 13. It's going to carry up to the next one, 23. Right, same thing when we're subtracting. I'm doing 20 minus 14.65. I'm going to add those extra zeros. All of this is the same. You've been doing since elementary school. Just be careful of the borrows. Now there's nothing here on these zeros, so I'm going to borrow from the 2, makes that a 10, just carries down. I'll show you here. So now I'm going to add a couple decimal places. Now I got to take 8 away from 0, but I can't do it. So I'm going to turn this into a 0, and then I'm going to borrow. So, well, should I do it like this? I haven't done this in a long time. Okay, so if I borrow from him, he's now a 10. But I got to share back here by making him a 10. But I got to share back there by making him a 10. So I just shared all the way down. This is just like it was in elementary school. I haven't tried to explain this, maybe ever actually, but so 2, 4, 9 minus 9 is 0. So actually these guys are all, the 1 is now a 0, so there's nothing left over there. So 42.42. Okay, so I've just added my extra zeros. We're going to borrow, this time a 4. Now I'll show you this. I'm sure you remember that you don't have to show this. So I'd be like sharing it down, but every time I do, it keeps carrying all the way down until I make this guy the 10. So there's an 8, 5. I'm going to bring down my decimal. 9 minus 7 is 2, 4 minus 3, and I get 1258. Okay, I'm sure we're probably doing multiplication in the next one. Hopefully that's all a review for you. I think the rounding would probably be the most important thing out of there. And again, in algebra, we really don't do a lot of decimal stuff, but anyway, good reminder.